Hi folks, Mike Joyce here. Those wonderful people at the Manchester Food and Drink Awards have been in touch and they've asked me if I would give a sourdough masterclass. That isn't going to happen. It's not a masterclass. By no means am I that good at it. Trial and error, a lot of error, but what I'm going to do is just give you a demonstration of what I've been up to. Now, I've been lucky enough to have a little bit more practice than a lot of people. Obviously, it's become quite popular since the lockdown. My son Frankie got me a starter at Christmas last year, as a Christmas present, and I've been making loads of bread, amongst other things as well. But the great thing about it, the easy thing about it, is once you've got your starter, then it's really easy to keep it going. You can put it in the fridge if you're not making bread pretty much every day. You can put it in the freezer. In fact, you can put it in the freezer apparently for months and months and months, and bring it out, start feeding it again, and it'll be fine. And likewise with putting it in the fridge, if you're going to put it in the fridge for a few days, if you're not doing anything, just take it out, give it a feed. And that's one of the other good things about sourdough as well, is that the ratios are really easy for me to understand. It's pretty much 1 to 1 to 1. That's the ratio that I use. So when I'm feeding it at any point, one ratio of 60 grams or whatever of sourdough. When you're feeding it, 60 grams of flour, 60 grams of water, and plain white flour. What we need to start off with is, again, plain white flour, and I've got 500 grams of flour in here, and that's enough to make a couple of loaves. That'll make you 2 loaves, 2 decent sized loaves, and 2 teaspoons of brown sugar and 2 teaspoons of salt. They just pop them in, throw them in like that. I've been using, for this recipe, 220 ml. And then we want the sourdough starter. Now, sourdough starter, there it is. You can see, hopefully you can see the bubbles there. I mean, it smells fantastic. Now, to find out whether your starter is ready or not, what you do is, because it's quite difficult waiting to see if it's ready. Because is it ready? There are bubbles, but one thing that I found that works, once you've given it a stir, you stir it around, get a spoonful, and just pop it in some water. And if it floats, it's ready. And there you go. We've got a floater. So, I need to add 300 grams of sourdough starter. Right, there we go, 299. Right, that'll do. So there it is, all together there. So let me just get rid of that. And just throw a little bit of flour in. And the thing is, when you put in flour, try to keep the flour to an absolute minimum. Because obviously the more flour that you're putting in, then you're changing the ratios all the time. Let's chuck that out there. So now it's just time to start bashing it, kneading it. So yeah, we're going to take a break. I'm going to do this for the next 5 or 10 minutes, and we'll take it from there. So I'll see you in a minute. So, I've been doing this for about 5 or 10 minutes now, and what you need to do is just grab a piece off it. And what you're looking for is the window pane effect. Can you see that there? But you can't see it, can you, Pop? Anyway, well, you can if you perfect. It's the window. There you can see it. See that? It's you can see through it. So now we're going to prove it or proof it. You think you can say both actually. You can say proving or proofing. Anyway, now normally you put it in, what you need is a dish, any dish really, as long as it's got high sides. Now, what they say in the recipe that I use is you need to put some olive oil in it. Now, what I've been doing, and this is something that I got off the internet, is using sour caps. Right? Stick it over the proofing dish. Press it down that one. Might be able to see it better there. Then you don't have to waste any olive oil. And they are reusable, but only for this, obviously. So we're going to cover that up, leave that there, and come back in 3 hours. I'll see you in a bit. Hi folks, okay, so here we are 3 hours later in the kitchen, and we've proved this for the first time. This was for 3 hours. It's risen quite a lot actually. I was quite surprised, and it's stuck to the cloth. I wasn't expecting it to rise so much. So we're just going to put a bit of flour down here, and what we're going to do now is we're going to knock it back. So what you do is you just knock it back like this, get the air out. And then turn it in and overlap it. And what we're going to do now, I'm going to do this little cutter thing, and we're going to split the dough into two. Again, just doing a little bit more flour on there. And what we're going to do is we're just going to make it, just round it really, into a ball shape, and then give it a generous dusting of flour. Now that's ready to go, and we're going to pop it in upside down in here, so that when it's ready to go, then we can, it'll just plop out again because it won't get stuck. Let me just get another liner for that. I mean, one of the, really, you should have a proving dish, but they're quite pricey. But it's my birthday next week, and I think I've done enough in terms of hints that have been dropped, because you can get some really cool ones that some that have like really nice patterning in them as well. But this will do. This is absolutely fine because it works for me. And like I said, another generous, just enough flour, and just get it into a ball shape like that. And again, just pop it down in there, upside down. They'll just automatically, you don't need to cover this because these just automatically cover themselves like that. So we'll leave that now to prove again for the second time. This time I think between 2 and 2.5 hours, and we'll come back later on. It'll probably be dark then actually. Okay, so we've proved it for the second time for 2.5 hours I think this time. And here we have them both here ready to go. Just take them out of the shower cap. Throw it down onto a slightly floured surface, and really it's just to kind of get a shape of it. Now most sourdoughs are kind of like boule shaped and round. Do you know what I like to do? I like to kind of make them longer, like a baton, and I think they're easier to cut. And they're also, I don't know, for some reason just come out as a better shape. Anyway, so we're going to do it Reggie shape anyway, roughly. Going to give it a little blast of flour from here. That's just been on the surface. And we're going to score it as well. Now, I think this was something done, I read online that it was so that bakers could recognise their own loaves. And they'd have their own signature on the bread. I think also it's when the pressure inside is to relieve the pressure so it doesn't burst underneath. Either way, I'm not sure. I mean, they could possibly both be right. Anyway, we have the oven, very hot, gas mark 8. No idea what that is in centigrade. I think about 230, 240, but a very hot oven. And also, at the bottom of the oven, we're going to put some, we're going to put a tray of ice cubes in the bottom so we can, well, we're not going to put a tray of ice cubes, we're going to get a handful of ice cubes. Well, then luckily we've got 2 ovens here. So, I'll just stick this on here. Just put it in a tray in the bottom, like so. And again, just a handful of ice cubes in the bottom of each oven. because apparently the steam does help in the moisture from the steam, does help in the cooking process. So again, same in the other oven. Now you need to line your tray. Now the first time that I did it, it was for 45 minutes and it wasn't covered. And I found that it got very, well, obviously it's a hot oven. So I found it was browning and the top was crusty and grey and it wasn't cooking underneath. So I had a look online, there's a couple of ways of doing it. One of them was to spray it with water, which slows down the cooking process or the browning process of the bread. And the other one was to cover it so that it doesn't brown so much, but also the heat inside is more contained. So 45 minutes in total. Again, there's no right and wrong way with this. It just depends on how it turns out, or depending on your success rate with the way that you're doing it. And as soon as if it's working like that, and obviously don't fix it if it's not broken. But yeah, anyway, line whatever you're going to be putting it in with a bit of brown paper. But I think, sorry, baking paper, not just brown paper, not paper that you're going to be using for wrapping presents up or anything, or posts. But the thing is, I think the main thing is the first 20 minutes, because the 25 minutes after that, what I do is I put it in the oven for 20 minutes with the top slash mark across there. So that's going to go in the oven now, like that. I'm going to do exactly the same with the other one. Both on 20 minutes, and take the top off for the second 25, and we'll have a look and see how they turn out. So the time has just gone in the oven, 45 minutes in total, 20 minutes with the ice cubes in. I take them out, and then I took the top off for the last 25 minutes. In fact, for the last 5 minutes, I just had them on the shelf just because I thought the underside wasn't done so well. So normally, I take these out and put them on the cooling tray for, I don't know, an hour or 2 hours, because that's what you're supposed to do. But obviously, in this instance, we're not going to do that and just turn these off. We're going to just drag them out. Ta-da! And there's the other. So the proof is in the slicing, I suppose. So we'll just have it, like I said, blimey, that's hot. So we'll just, I'll give you an idea how that's looking. So yeah, there it is. It's, it smells fantastic. Yeah, so there they are. Like I said, it's not full of bubbles. It's got enough in it. There's enough air in there. So, and the second one, I know what I'm going to be having for breakfast. Again, that's pretty much the same. That's how I do my sourdough.